Who's doing it?
I go on, you do.
Is it me?
Yeah.
But it's a member show. Technically, member shows.
All right,
I'm
okay.
not...
Jesus Christ. Hi, it's Gav here. This is Phil beside me. This is the Talkin Kop. It is a member show on a Monday. And the reason it's the member show tonight is because usually Monday night is a show for everyone. But I've turned it to a member show tonight because we've loads of random stuff to talk about, right?
Yeah, fair
And
enough.
the thing is, not only that, when we talk about random stuff, and every time we come on a Monday, the first 10 minutes is fairly random, the last 10 minutes is fairly random, and we do a bit of football in the middle, people are leaving comments afterwards going, skip to 12 minutes 30 because, they were talking about Liverpool, it's not relevant, and well, why are you talking about this? And I'm like, lads, for fuck's sake, like, this is how we've worked for years and years and years. If a random stuff comes into your head, you're more than welcome to talk about it and throw the football in as well. Like, if you want absolute football, go and read Gareth Crooks' best fucking 11 of the weekend. Is he still doing that? I'm presuming he is. So that's why I made it.
I'd rather read Gareth Brooks' best.
Just
11
the back
of the
of Gareth Brooks' albums. Just, who copyrighted it, what studio was that recorded in, stuff like that. But so if I don't know what to say. There's just lots of moaning people on. Like, it may be to do with Liverpool's form, but having a go at us, like, having a go at people that are doing shows going, they haven't got a clue. And I'm going, yeah.
There was something that broke this evening that I haven't in our topics, but we can come back to it, right? I think the fact that no streaming service has bought the Liverpool documentary is a great thing, right? No one has it.
I think it has to have gone up in value with the end of Liverpool season.
I don't know. I
think
think it's gone down in value because I don't think any Liverpool fans
They're talking
watch
about
it, right?
10 million plus for it.
Much?
I've never watched the Sunderland one. I think Arsenal done one. Spurs might have done one, and I haven't watched a single second of any of them.
I don't think you could top the one we did with Brendan Rodgers, right?
Oh yeah.
I think as a single
being Liverpool, was that what it was called, wasn't it?
Being Liverpool, I don't think that could ever be topped from a football perspective, right? To have the very last scene, in air, ride off into the distance on a Harley Davidson, right?
No one's beating it.
And Edward Sharp and the Magnetics kick in. I'm a man on fire. I literally, you're never going to get an ending sequence as good as that.
It should have won Oscars.
Unless they recreate that with Klopp disappearing off.
When it comes down to Grammys, when it comes to the Grammys and stuff, they should have an award. The Ian Ayre fucking in memoriam award. I think Ian Ayre's still alive. But, the Ian Ayre fucking appreciation or whatever award, because it was absolutely fantastic, the end of that. Let me see. Garmax as being Liverpool was quality. Listen, I'll tell you what, can we have a vote? Right, not on Ian Ayre, but
I want to vote on Ian Ayre. The only man to go to the Ukraine
for Konoplyanka.
No, he was the only man who went to the Ukraine to buy Konoplyanka with a briefcase full of sandust, as Damo Flood said. He's gone off over there.
Do you remember then when he turned up and they were like, "Where's Ian Ayre?" And you're like, "Oh, he's at the signing for Firmino. He's in Brazil." And they're like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah." It was like Ian Ayre just went, "I'm just going to go to Brazil and find as a player." It was fucking mad stuff. So anyway, what I want to do is, this show will go back to open to everyone next week. And what we're going to do from now on is, if anyone's giving out, I'm just going to get rid of them in the comments afterwards. I'm just going to say, fuck off. I don't need you. And they're like, you're annoying me, right? So I want a straw poll tonight, right? Thumbs up if we should keep the football and the crack. Or thumbs down if you just like all football and a little bit of crack at the end of it. Because I like the crack at the start. I think it breaks up the week brilliant.
And let me tell you that no matter what you vote for,
it'll be crack and football and crack. Yeah, completely, absolutely. Anyway,
so can I bring up the first topic then, right?
Yes.
Because I got sidetracked now by this, that nobody wants to buy the Liverpool documentary. And it's definitely, my little brain is starting to head off now, going, why does nobody want to buy this documentary? Like, and surely with all the stuff that's going on,
would that suggest that Liverpool are producing this themselves and then are going to sell the rights to it to somebody? Yeah, rather than Netflix come in and follow them.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like they've been an in-house production, and
Yeah,
they're trying to flog it off now to a streaming service.
yeah.
And to be perfectly frank, and like I just don't see the point. I think there's so many good series. I think the Welcome to Wrexham is great. Right? You don't need to watch something on Liverpool. Right? Look, it's played out in front of us. This season
I
couldn't.
watched a couple of the Wrexham ones. I did watch
Yeah.
them actually. I watched them, but I never watched the Sunderland stuff, the
Nah.
Spurs stuff, the Arsenal stuff. The best bits you didn't have to watch it. The best bits were shown to you online on a Twitter account to show you going,
Yeah.
here's fucking Jose Mourinho calling all the Spurs players a cunt. You know what I mean? And
And
that's
the,
probably the
the
height
other
of it.
side, the other side to this, Gav, is that in reality you're going to get a watered down version of what will happen. You'll never get the watered
No,
down,
because
right?
especially if the club are producing this themselves in order to sell it to Netflix, because they will edit the fuck out of it. Do you know what I mean? And I actually think it was an exercise, and I could be wrong, but I think it might be an exercise that was worked with alongside Nike in order to get more exposure in America. That's what I think it might be.
So supposedly, right, filming for the Liverpool series, which yet to be given a formal title, started in December. Has been produced by Lorton Entertainment, which is owned by the Shepherd family, as in Freddie Shepherd, who used to own Newcastle United, right?
Yeah.
The Lorton crew first began shadowing LFC staff. At that point, discussions over the final contract were still ongoing, with final terms agreed in January after Klopp told the owners he was leaving. Rather than being an access all areas documentary, the show will have more of a lifestyle angle, focusing on the culture of the club and the fans that follow the team, day-to-day life, and the next generation of players coming through. That to me sounds incredibly boring.
Yeah, that's why it's not being sold, because they're
Yeah.
literally not gonna have the bit where, Salah and Klopp try punch the head off each other at West Ham and what happens in the aftermath. They're just not gonna have that.
That sounds like
It's a promotional video for Liverpool Football Club.
yeah. So as a big
I can't believe they
American
didn't ring
sports
me
fan,
and ask me to do it for them, to be honest with you.
I know, but as a big American sports fan, as you all know, as I keep telling you all the time, but most of the clubs have their own in-house channels, right? So say the Bears have 1920 Football Drive, right?
Right.
And they put out different episodic things, but like this, it's exactly that type of type of stuff where you get a bit of an angle.
Birdie
and
says, imagine
lifestyle.
if Morgan Freeman narrated it. Be fantastic. It'd be just like the Kirby version of the Shawshank. It'd be fucking brilliant.
So, like to me, it just seems like it's the same stuff that the NFL
Produced
do.
by the
but
guys who did the Diego Maradona movie. Says Ashley. There you go.
But it mightn't be produced by the same producer or director. It's produced by the same company, but not the same people.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, to my point, I think. Anyway, can we get on to the main topic I want to talk about? Because this is really important. I think for
All right,
everyone in
go
the
on.
chat, it's very important, right?
Yeah.
Right. Do you have the picture lined up to show people? Because this is outrageous.
Oh, jeez, do I have to do this again?
Do this because I think it's important because it's the only works if people can see this, right? Put it in a little
hold
square.
on, I fucking find one. Hold on.
So, as I know, most of you in the chat, there's Gav.
No,
Most of you.
I'm gonna relax. There we go.
Right.
Right, now I can walk away in the background. Jeez,
So, as most of you know, and like most of you there in the chat, we all hate golf, but Gav loves golf, right? And I was thinking, what would get me interested in golf? On the topic of entertainment and sports entertainment, and I'm sitting there going, and all of a sudden, a picture of Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry appears after they won a trophy. Now, normally a trophy in golf, a nice big crystal vase, something like that, or an old plaque. This is outrageous. These two lads won belts like the WWF, right? There's nothing else to describe it. It's like it's they won the Intercontinental Tag Team Champion of golf. It's brilliant, right? So to me,
they won a trophy. Hold on, I have it.
There is a trophy. There's a trophy involved in this, right? Yeah. But just to add the extra spice onto it, to get more people interested in, because it's America, they get belts as well. They get belts as well, and this is brilliant. I think belts should be brought into everything. To be totally frank with you, I think belts should be brought in. It'd be brilliant.
But I don't know what show we were on the other week, and one of the best comments we've had in fucking ages on this channel, and we were talking about when people. I don't know if you were on it. I think I'm nearly sure Shawnee was on.
Could have been.
So I don't think it was you, but basically we were talking about the WWE, yeah, and we were saying that people that wear belts to these things in like the Tree Arena and stuff, and someone in the comments went, if you wear a belt to the Tree Arena when you're going to watch the WWE, you should be made to defend it on the spot. It was fucking incredible. I'm gonna find. I haven't.
Will you put
I'm
this
walking
picture up
away
so
here.
people can see it?
I'm
Because it
walking
only
away.
works
I'm
if you can
walking
see
for
the
you.
picture.
I'm walking for you. Hold on.
Jesus, I sent it to you at 9:30 this morning because I got so excited about it when I saw it. It says, Gav, are we doing a show tonight? Because normally I wouldn't care. I was
Yeah.
like, hang on, Gav, are we doing a show tonight? I was look at this picture. This is what I want to talk about.
All
But
right.
I
Hold on.
think, guys, so to your point on belts,
Yeah.
do you not think we should have a belt for like loads of things?
There you go.
Look at that belt. Look at those belts. That is simply
Do
outrageous.
you know what they are? I'll tell you what they are, right? It's right. First of all, there's a bit of a kind of like when I look at them, I think to myself, and for people that are listening afterwards, right? It's a real kind of cheap looking leather kind of belt, right? With 4 rivets on it, right?
No, they're double hold. You know when you put them through, like in the WWE, like this is a proper
Right.
wrestling
But
belt.
what it screams to me is it screams at me Oktoberfest, right? For some reason.
Yeah,
But the
yeah.
middle of the belt is like genuinely like the WWF tag team belts from maybe
87.
1981-ish. Somewhere around
87.
there. Yeah. So they're fantastic. And I'm with you. I think all this trophy stuff should go. I think giving people belts, mad stuff. Like even like, do you know what they should do as well? If you win like in Oklahoma, right, or you win somewhere, it should. You know the way the mayor wears like these big mad fucking things around their neck and it's all gold now. You should get a replica of that. You know what I mean? It's fucking amazing.
I think that you should win the belt. I think when they win the Premier League trophy, all the players should get a belt, right? They should come out, at the
But
start of the match
it should be like,
with the belt over the shoulders,
yeah,
like the Rock or something.
they should bring an attitude here to the PGA because Liv are acting the bollocks now. Like they're having like great fun and they're getting huge crowds they had in Australia, which is one of the first I've seen it. But the PGA should have some stuff like, right, there's a playoff next weekend and whoever wins gets their, what did he call that in the WWE? Like
Table, ladders, and chairs match.
no,
Money in the bank.
They run Money in the Bank, right?
Yeah.
So you play your thing, right? So let's say we play, right, and say fucking Padraig Harrington wins the playoff, right? Now he's in the Champions Tour, but he's allowed into this, right? For their purposes. So he wins this playoff, right? And he gets his Money in the Bank, right? The following week, right? Fucking Rory McIlroy is going down the 18th in Abu Dhabi, right? In the playoff, the 6th hole of a playoff after 72 holes against fucking Luke Donald, right? McIlroy manages to win. He's bollocksed, right? Next thing, who comes out from the crowd but Harrington, right? Hands the fucking box to McIlroy's fucking thing, his caddy, and says, I'm cashing in my Money in the Bank,
Cashing in
right?
money.
And just runs up to the 18th tee, 1 hole playoff to see who's... And then if Harrington beats a wrecked McIlroy, Harrington's the number 1 in the world. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, like, yeah.
All this,
No.
it's
I
amazing.
think you can extend
And
this.
if they're going to go
right,
down the
like,
belt route, fucking commit to it. Own it.
So, right, and this plays into sports where weight matters, right? So say with cycling, because that's it, y'all know I love cycling, right? But the fella who wins the Tour de France has to cycle around with a massive belt on him. So the rest are all in lycra.
Yeah.
Your man has to wear his world champion belt, not just stripes across his thing, a world champion belt
But the
all
thing
the way
is,
around the bike.
so do you remember when Shane Lowry won the Open in 2019, right?
Yep.
Up the north, right? He was brilliant. I was fucking delighted for him. And he brought the claret jug all around fucking wherever he lives, down in Laois or Offaly or whatever. And he brings around, and he was in Scotland drinking it over, and it was a week gargling, right? How much more entertaining would it be, right? If Shane Lowry was rocking around fucking pubs all over Dublin and Laois with just a big belt for the WWE. Over his shoulder with like St. Andrews written on it, right?
Yeah.
And he's just walking into pubs and holding it up, right?
And everyone going mad.
Stone Cold music comes on. People are throwing cans of beer at him, and he's cracking them open in the boozer. And the people from the bar are shouting through, going, "Fucking keep it down in there," because the lounge is mental.
Particularly in individual sports, the idea of a belt as the winning thing is so much better because it means that when you get beaten, you lose the belt. So like take Usain Bolt, not Usain Belt, Usain Bolt. It could have been Usain Bolt, right? He wins the 100 meters and eventually he gets beaten. What happens? Fella takes the belt off him. He's no longer the champion.
Yeah. And like it's like, but you can have belts for like, so say the Usain Bolt stuff, right? So Usain Bolt will be holding like he's the Olympic champion, right? Gets beaten in the next Olympics. Next fella gets the Olympic belt. But then
Yeah.
the fella going around with the world record belt, just a big belt, right, with a clock
Yeah.
on it, with hashtag number 1 in it. That's it. Just
Digital,
as
a
simple as
digital
you.
clock,
No,
like the one they used to have in the Liffey.
like just like a clock, an old clock you'd see in a kitchen, right?
Yeah.
Just a round plastic fucking clock, right? But it's stuck to the belt, and then on the front of it in black mark, just hashtag 1, like number
Grand.
1, and
I'm all
that's how
in.
simple we can make it. And he's the record, time holder, world record, right? And then
So much better than.
so what happens then is, right, and then he has to run in the belt. I think they should run in the belt actually. Right, you should run with the belt on them, and then if you lose it and you collapse at the end and you lose it, the fella just comes over, takes the belt off you.
Takes the belt,
Like the
and
belt
walks
is
off.
a big thing. Like the belt's a big thing. Ashley asks, "Is mini golf a thing over there?" I could see Phil getting into it. It was an absolutely mad mini golf course. Mini golf is a thing over here, but I have major reservations over mini golf, right? Because as much time and effort that they put into the course themselves, they don't put enough effort into the equipment they give you. Right, the ball is really fucking hard. It's smaller than a normal golf ball. The clubs are terrible. But I think these mini golf places, there's one in Dundrum Shopping Centre that has 2 courses, right? But I think that they should be doing stuff like people that play golf coming down and going, right, this is a proper tournament. With a belt at the end of it, obviously, to win, right? But, like, yeah, you should be allowed to bring your own clubs and balls with you, like your own.
But think about this,
My putter cost like 200 quid. My putter cost.
No,
I'd love to bring it to the mini golf.
But hang on a sec, right? Forget the mini golf. Just think about this, right? So we go to the World Club Championships and we win the World Club Championships, right? So now you can only start this when the belt starts, so you can't go back in the past, right? Now, what happens? So the next time we lose, that team gets the belts. You know the way they had this, who was the best team in the world, and they're able to track it from like when the 1952 World Cup winners right the way up to now, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's the alternative world champions, because it goes through every time the world champion gets beaten. They automatically then, the team that beats them becomes the world champion rather than wait for the World Cup or anything like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
With this, the belts could pass. Imagine the crack. Imagine the absolute crack. Like even friendlies count then, right? It's because if you're playing a friendly,
but you could have things like, right, say there's a meeting at Crystal Palace, because I always remember Crystal Palace always had a meeting, didn't they?
Yeah.
Athletics.
Yeah.
It was down by near Selhurst. That must be near Selhurst, right? So say there's a meeting in Crystal Palace, right? And there's what do you call the IAFA or whatever they call it, right?
IAAF.
Yeah, right. So there's one of them going on in Crystal Palace, but up in Glasgow there's another meeting going on, right? And there's 200-metre races going on fairly similar to time. They could do stuff like, do you remember when, like in Scotland, when Celtic and Rangers were going for the title on the last day, they just have a helicopter hovering in the air halfway between the two venues to see where they're going to bring the trophy, right? But this could be just a belt hanging off a helicopter halfway between Glasgow and Crystal Palace, right? Like do you know the way you see the blimp at the golf, right?
Yeah,
the blimps, the Goodyear blimps or whatever, right? At the Formula 1. This could be just something like that, with a belt hanging off it. And your woman up in Scotland runs the fucking thing in 9.6, right? And they start going, oh, and the legend of the helicopter. And then your woman in Crystal Palace runs it in 9.4, and then the helicopter, and then there's live footage of the helicopter darting towards Crystal Palace.
Right. You have to beat the person to win the belt. You have to beat the person.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying.
And if Usain Bolt turns up at a school, right, and just lets the kids win, the kid that comes first gets the belt.
Okay, so the belt isn't. So what you were saying is that the belt isn't. It isn't like just for the athletes. Anyone could do it.
Oh, listen, I'm literally this makes the world.
Could Usain Bolt turn up in Paris?
Usain Bolt,
right? Yeah, I keep saying it now. He could turn up. I don't think he runs anymore, Usain Bolt, right? But he definitely doesn't. But he could turn up in Paris as Olympic champion, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And he turn up and they go, "Have you got the belt with you? Because like this is the Olympics." And he goes, "No." And he goes, "Why?" He says, "I'll tell you why. Because my nephew needed to go to the toilet earlier the other week, right? And the only way I could get him was I'd race him to the toilet."
Yeah.
And of course, you never let the kid lose. So the young fella got to the toilet before him. He done his business, and he owns the belt now.
He gets the belt. He's the
so you're gonna have to bring the young fella here and put him in the race, or someone's gonna have to go and find the young fella and beat him in a race until he get the belt back. Yeah, okay, I'm with that. So it can go anywhere.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Right.
That's what the belts are for. I think, like, if McIlroy turns up and he plays a round of golf now, in not even around, just a couple of practice holes somewhere in Dublin with kids, right? And a kid beats a score on the golf course,
Yeah, he gets the
he
belt.
has to give the belt.
But the only thing is, there should be 2 rules. You can't put the belt down as leverage on a bet,
No,
and
can't
you
do
can't
that.
put it down against a mortgage or a gaff
No,
because
you
it's no
can't.
monetary value to it.
And you must carry the belt all the time in case you get into an event which is involved in the sport that you won the belt in, right? So you can't. You
Yeah,
have to have the belt with you at all time. You have to basically walk around like The Rock used to do until he became famous.
yeah. Okay. So Ashley says, "What's crazy golf? Maybe it's called something different. I'm thinking about the little putting courses with lasers and water features, big animal statues and windmills.
That's
Yeah, mini
crazy
golf
golf.
and crazy golf are the same thing. We just call it crazy golf. Why do we
Pitch and
call it
putt is
crazy
mini
golf?
golf. Mini golf is pitch and putt.
Is mini golf?
This is
No,
outrageous.
no. Mini golf. Golf is golf. Pitch and putt is a very, very shortened version of golf. It's
Yeah,
not even
yeah,
a shortened version of golf. It's just a different sport. Mini golf is crazy golf, where it's
yeah.
indoors or outdoors on things that are usually made of wood, painted
There's
windmills, all that
gnomes,
sort of stuff, right? Yeah, gnomes and
gnomes.
little tunnels and wavelling
Yeah,
and fucking everywhere. But mini golf is crazy golf. But why do we call it crazy golf?
it's in America. I think America calls it mini golf, and we call it crazy golf.
Right? Is it only us that calls it crazy golf? I have a feeling it's only the Irish.
It might be because I think it was brought in by a man who used to own Crazy Prices,
Right.
so he
I
brought
don't think
Crazy
I think
Prices
you're lying
in.
to me. But
I'm
yeah,
not.
so they're the same thing. But I would consider it mini golf. But everyone in Ireland, I think, calls it crazy golf. Don't know why.
Definitely crazy golf.
That's
Because you go to
crazy.
Cortown and you play crazy golf in Pirates Cove.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Um.
Crazy.
Yeah. Pitch and
It's
putt
golf that's
pitch and
crazy.
putt is a great game. But I still think the most untapped thing in golf at the moment is 18 holes of par 3. So 18 holes ranging from 90 yards up into 180
Yeah, I
yards.
used to.
There is
To
some
be
golf
fair, right?
courses like that out there, very few.
So
But
I grew up playing that.
yeah, I absolutely love it. To
I
go out
played.
and
It
play
wasn't pitch
18
and putt
holes
now.
where you're just hitting that pins, every shot you're taking is brilliant.
Wasn't pitch and putt. It was par three golf.
Par 3
And it's
golf, yeah.
like there's a great one. I don't know if it's still there, but used to play it all the time. Was Blackwater par three golf course because it's built into the side of a valley, and it's actually quite decent. Even if you're a decent golf player, that's what I like because you're much quicker around it, much
Yeah.
quicker.
Yeah, and
Right?
you're hitting that flags on every shot rather than golf where
Yeah,
you're positioning
and
and stuff.
there is far ones, but there's also short ones as well.
Yeah.
So it's like it's good, and it's if you want to bring your kids to play it, it's good.
But I
Because
think
you can lose
someone
a
should
couple of them.
just go out and go, I want to make 18 of the best par 3 holes I can find
Yeah.
and manicure it within an inch of its life and open it as the premier par 3 golf course in Europe. If
There you
not
go.
the world. That's what I think should happen. What's the next
And
topic?
then you could
Because we've
then you
literally
could put
spent
then you could put up some massive belts.
yeah, belts for the winners. And like, look, there's definitely trophy makers out there that are listening to this now going, like, they're going to put
I'm
me out of
telling you
business
now,
here.
if you put a belt up, you would get most of the American golf players in the world wanting to come and play, particularly the ones from the south.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
the idea of a belt with a massive buckle to them, it would they'd be like
If
moths
Live
to a
Golf
flame.
had any sense, they turn around and go, at the end of the year, we're giving out loads of money, but the winner gets a big belt.
Massive belt.
And everyone on the
They'd all
PGA is
go.
going, why can't we have
Gone.
belts? Yeah,
I
I'm
want
out of here.
belts.
Yeah,
Why
belts
can't
is
we
the
have
way
belts?
forward. Anyway, what
Right,
was the next topic?
football. The next topic, what did I have? Virtual reality. Yeah, virtual reality, right? I know it was random, right? But it also fits into the fact that I don't believe Arne Slot's a real person.
Okay. Well, he is,
Right.
but
How can you prove it to me?
what do you mean prove it to you?
Prove.
Like, he's
Right,
literally
we've got this-
managing Feyenoord Football Club every week. He's on the sideline. He's there. Can I ask
Do you
you?
not think-
I know where you're coming from. Like, who the fuck is this fella, right? And to
No,
be
no.
honest
Do
with
you not think like that's just Louis Van Gaal? And what they've done is they've used AI to change him on the television, and everyone thinks it's another
it's
fella
Arne
called
Slot,
Arne
but it's
Slot.
actually well,
Louis
it could
Van
be
Gaal.
Johan Cruyff because your
Look,
man
if he,
did
if
it
he went like,
his
if he went like
last week.
this
And it
and
was
revealed his head as Louis Van Gaal, nobody'd be surprised. Because if you imagine his hair getting stuck in like to like a bald wig type thing, right? It'd fit very well. And he also is very good looking. Arne Slot is for a bald man, I have to say, right?
well,
But-
can I ask you the question in all seriousness,
that?
right? Because we're going from the sublime to the absolutely ridiculous in the last half an hour. But on the sublime being the belts, the ridiculous is probably where kids win belts over Usain Bolt. But in all seriousness, Phil, and we were talking about this last night, me, Shawnee, and Keith, and I openly admit I've never seen Arne Slot manage a game of football. All right, I've never seen a minute of his Feyenoord side. Right, I haven't seen a minute of Amorim's Spartan Lisbon side. So and genuinely, I've probably seen an hour and a half of Alonso's Leverkusen. It was the only time when they played Bayern that time, because everyone kind of wanted to watch that time because we're in the height of it. But in all seriousness, I think the biggest thing, well, my big thing, and I wanted to see what you thought of it, was no matter who we bring in, Phil, it's a risk because it's not Klopp. I think it's a massive risk, regardless, on different levels. I think bringing this guy in, when you crunch the numbers and you look at it and the data and the way he plays football and the way he likes to do this and the way he likes to do that, clearly Michael Edwards and the lads feel he's a great fit, right? But he's a risk because of the league he's coming from, probably the experience he has, both in, he's not in a bigger league, and I think he might be a little bit restricted in what he's done in Europe, right? A couple of years there, maybe at Feyenoord. But if you go to the other end of the spectrum, like if you went and said to me, they're thinking about Mourinho, or they're thinking about Thomas Tuchel, or they're thinking about whatever, my risk on that end is that we're going back to what's seen as a tried and tested, but are they so stuck in their own ideas that they want to pull the club asunder? And that's a risk that end. So we can't really win. They can't really win regardless of what they do here with regards to disappointment, can they?
Remember I said to you a while back, must have been just after the Coca-Cola Cup win, right?
Yeah.
And I said to you, the biggest worry I had was like either they're nowhere near what they need to do, or this is all set up to be like a bunch of falling dominoes.
And the talk, sorry, and by the way, sorry, just to let you know, because I know you pay no attention, the talk is now that he never went near Alonso, right? Mm-hmm. And the talk is that he didn't go near Amorim, and Amorim tried to force the issue last week by saying he was going to London to meet with West Ham in order to try force Liverpool's hand. Liverpool just didn't bat an eyelid and then start releasing Arne Slot as our man, and then he had to go back to Sporting Lisbon and apologise for fucking off for a couple of days to try get himself a move to England.
Listen, no matter who they bring in, it's set up to fail, and I don't mean that in a bad way, and I don't mean that in a slot out way or anything like that, right? Mm-hmm. Because to be I've said this over and over again, to be the person after the man is generally a poison chalice, no matter who it is. The only time it tends to really work is if it's a step up from somebody within it, and they just continue on the system and the structure and everything that was there, and that rarely happens these days, right? Unless you're going to a Manchester City or a Bayern Munich or a Real Madrid or a Paris Saint-Germain, where it doesn't really matter who's the manager because they throw so much money at it and they assemble the best teams of multiple teams in one squad. And for Tuchel to get it wrong, just as that example, right, to get it so badly wrong in terms of what he's doing with Bayern just says something. So to me, bringing him in, why not? Why not? Like, who else? I will tell you, I think as the management merry-go-round has gone, this is one of the weakest turns of what we've seen in terms of available managers and likely managers to go. Julian Lopetegui is the fella who's gone into AC Milan, right? He's like, to me, I didn't rate him. You mentioned Mourinho's available, Tuchel's available. I thought Nagelsmann of all of them would have been a good move.
He signed a new deal with Jeremy.
Yeah, but again, I think he was probably, in my head, the one that I knew the most of, that I was saying, yeah, look, I'd like to see him come in. There's been mention of De Zerbi. If you're going to go the De Zerbi route, I was going to say, well, why wouldn't you look at Graham Potter? I think Potter had a really raw deal at Chelsea, and what he'd done with Brighton was just as equally as impressive as what De Zerbi's done with Brighton as well, mm-hmm. right? What they've done, when I look at the Slot thing, is they've basically made a computer AI generated version of a manager that looks a bit like Pepe Reina, and also has a hint of Louis van Gaal about him, and they're going to pass him off using, this is why the fellas from the production's in there, and they're just going to make it pretend it's like when we signed your man Calvin Robertson.
Why
right?
are you why are you constantly in front of a green screen? Why is that 4 people walking around behind you with a green screen all the time? But this is what I'm saying.
Every picture he looks like. Do you remember when in Total Recall, he took off the mask? I swear to God, this is what's driven it for me, right? All I can see is, if anyone just watched Total Recall, right, the picture of when Arnie goes a bit mad and the mask goes a bit mad, he takes it off and the wig falls off and this bald head's going, it's like this. That's what he looks like, and that's what I can't get away from. But he looks like that crossed with Pepe Reina. So when I look at it, I'm going, that's not real. That can't be real. The chap can't be real. It's just makey uppy, right? So it's just, that's what I'm struggling with. It's virtual reality. Everything is virtual reality. It's all regents, Gav. It's all regents. Everything is regents. Look at the names of these lads. Cole Palmer sounds a bit like Joe Cole and Carlton Palmer put together, right? All these people now are just. There's no. We're living in a. This is just further evidence that this is just all a simulation. That they're running out of things.
Further evidence.
It is, and that we're just basically going round and round in circles.
Hold on a minute, right? We're sitting here.
Next season we're signing Salma Moa.
Right, no, we're sitting here now at 25-11 on a Monday night, right? And you just said, right, in a roundabout way, that the appointment by Liverpool of Arne Slot is just further evidence of how we're being ran by AI. Like, what the fuck? But, like, what I would say to you is, you're talking about the man after the man and all that, right?
Yeah.
I actually think Edwards is the man after the man. I don't think Arne Slot is.
I don't
and
think
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. If Michael Edwards came in, or came back, or anybody for that matter, come in and went, they said, look, Billy Hogan and all them boys, Mike Gordon and all the lads are all staying as they are, and Michael Edwards is coming back to take over from Schmacke that was over in Ibiza smoking, right? And great he has me full respect. I think he's been one of the greatest things to happen to Liverpool in years, right? But if that happened, it would be like, right, the hierarchy has remained the same. Klopp is gone, they're bringing this guy in. And I think it would have been basically, here's the new guy in town, right? But I think what's happening here and the massive emphasis on the fact that Michael Edwards is now more or less the head of football operations at Liverpool Football Club. You have Mike Gordon, I think, or one of them going off to be basically the CEO of FSG International, not just Liverpool now. They're going off. I think it's it Gordon or Hogan, one of them. The fact that he's there now and then he's brought in another guy, it's literally like, here's the big guy, here's the guy next to him, and this is just the coach now, right? And I think even the appointment, who it is and the way they're going about it, I think it puts way more on Michael Edwards than it does on Arne Slot. And that's why I think Edwards is actually the man after the man, not Arne Slot.
See, I could potentially buy that, right? In one sense, but I don't, and here's why, because I think everyone's focusing too much on Edwards. Edwards is part of the process, but he's not the man that's appointed. That's not driving the Slot appointment. That's the other fella who's your man that used to play for Portsmouth?
Richard Hughes.
Yeah, right. So he's the driving force in what's happening on a day-to-day basis at Liverpool. Edwards was brought back and said, right, I'll bring it back in, I'll set back up the whole staff, all that type of stuff. But my role is bigger than Liverpool. He's the chief executive of football at Liverpool. His brief now is to develop a multi-club model under the Liverpool Football Club banner for FSG, right?
Yeah.
So the New York City, the Melbourne City, all that, Liverpool are going to go that route now in terms of what's there. So his brief is way bigger than what it is. Yes, getting a manager in, I'm sure he'll sign off on that as a decision, right?
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you, Hughes is going to him saying, here's who I want. This is the reason I want it for. And if it fits in with the brief that he's been given, and Edwards is given that Edwards appointed Richard Hughes as the sporting director at Liverpool, he's going to turn and say, I brought you here to make the decisions. I trust what you're saying. I've no issues with it. I can see why you're going for him. Signed off from my point of view. And that's the reason why they've gone what it is. And listen to me, the other side of it is, all this worked before and didn't work, and it will work and not work on certain things. And there's a bit that has annoyed me personally in terms of what's gone on and the way the whole thing is orchestrated, from Klopp making the announcement in January to the club clearly having to put the structure in place, which they did quite quickly. And then if you think about it, if I'm Edwards and I'm Hughes, I don't really care, and I mean this in the best possible way, right? I don't really care what's going on with the football team as is at this moment in time, because we don't start until June the 1st.
Yeah.
We don't start until the end of the season.
Well, so they'd be concerned with the fact that they've secured Champions League football, because that is
obviously, but like that's when by the time they're all announced. Thing
that kind of.
But Gav, by the time they're announced,
I would say Champions League and the outcomes surrounding a couple of contracts is probably their biggest things at the moment. With regards to the footballing side of it,
Yeah.
force it.
So, which would be the focus, but like for Edwards and Hughes, that's what they do on a day-to-day basis. So, does Hughes not? I don't think Hughes takes up the position until June the 1st.
No, he can't because he's under
Yeah,
contract with Bournemouth. Yeah.
yeah.
But of course, he
So,
doesn't officially take up the role, but it's not like Bournemouth have his phone tapped and he's not allowed to ring
no,
people. Do you know the sort of way? But I still think, like, look, we know how this works, right? Michael Edwards comes back, he brings in Richard Hughes. It's all brilliant, and look how great this is. And then they appoint Arne Slot, and then people will go, "What's going on?" FSG are going for the cheap route, and then if it goes wrong, FSG will get the blame. And then if it goes right, Michael Edwards is a genius, because you have to, it's how Liverpool fandom works. You have to take one side or the other, and you have to be absolutely an extremist in all of it. I'm not telling you Arne Slot will be a great manager for Liverpool. I couldn't fucking tell you what he does. I haven't a fucking clue about him. But I just think the profile of him is as suitable to Liverpool as any profile of any manager on the planet. Bar unless Pep Guardiola came around and said, "Here, can I have a go at that? I really like that club," right? It's as much of a muchness because of the circumstance, the club, where they sit, the hierarchy being moved around a little bit. Risks are everywhere. This just seems to be one sort of risk against what could be another sort of risk with
look,
etc.
I'm going to say something really blunt that people will and won't like. Some will agree with me because they're contrarians just like me, but some, right? Ultimately, if Slot comes in and does 3 or 4 years of getting us into the Champions League, having us competitive, and maybe winning a trophy here and there, what's the difference between him and what Klopp's done in the last few years? And straight up, in terms of what we're talking about, right?
If they're competitive in the league and they get in the Champions League, the difference is probably he wins a title and he wins the Champions League. And then again, you have to look at what circumstances will Arne Slot be working under in Liverpool, is particularly in a year's time. Will he have Man City still sitting there, as they are? Will, if Arsenal don't win a title this year or next year, the amount of money they've spent, do they have to look at what they're doing and how, the circumstances always change. I think if I honestly believe if Man City were taken out of the equation, I think what I think should happen to them, but I would make Liverpool favourites for the league title every season. Right now, I would make Liverpool. If you told me City weren't starting the Premier League next year, I'd make Liverpool title favourites immediately. Absolutely immediately. And I don't care who's in charge of them. That's the truth.
I think, and this is the Klopp's detriment.
That's the pressure he has on them, by the way.
I get it, but the reality is that Manchester City aren't going anywhere. They won't. They won't suffer any punishment for anything that's went down.
Well, if they don't suffer any punishment for things, there's no real point in us talking about football anymore.
But Gavin, I'm just being straight. I think people I know you are,
but we're so much.
Utter disappointment. At most they'll vacate a couple of titles to whoever was, but they won't be relegated. They won't have a points deduction. They won't have anything of that sort.
Well, if they're going to vacate titles over 7 years of fraud, they have to do something and punish them because of it. Vacating titles is not a punishment.
They'll be seen as, well, if by removing the league titles and what they did, that will be seen as punishment enough, and a large fine, maybe 20 million or something like that.
But that's not a large fine.
Well, that's what it's going to be seen.
We're selling the documentary for that money. You know what I mean?
I'm just being straight. I think people.
I know, but Phil, at the end of the day, if Man City come through this and are found to have done something wrong, which I think they have, okay, and we're sitting here in 18 months' time, and Man City are still playing in the Premier Division of English football after 7 years of fraud, what's the point? I know people love football clubs. I know, like, I fucking live every fucking day thinking about Liverpool Football Club, but what's the point? Unless we're going to all turn around and go, listen, there's no rules anymore. Let's have a fucking go. Let's all go at it and see where we end up. But that's where I am.
I'm being straight with you. There's too much money floating around. There's too much influence outside of what's there, right? Mm-hmm. As a country, England is in a really bad way, and like, it's been run by oligarchs and everything from all over the place. So, like, in reality, the likelihood of a fair and just outcome is nil. It's just nil, and you can see that right away. Like you can see the way they're treating immigrants. You can see the way everything has been happening. You can see the way they're treating their own people in the country at a government level, and you can see how much influence and impact they've had on various different sports, from Johnson right the way through to Sunak. Like there's literally nothing that's going to be able to back this up, or back the Premier League up in terms of what it is. And they'll be warned. They'll be warned from on high. Now, you've got to find a way that doesn't impact people who are pumping money into this country in terms of what it is, because we can't afford to have that type.
I completely get that, but at the same time, you know, if you're not gonna if you're gonna lay a rule that you're not gonna impact people that are playing money into this country, well, when I say this country, I mean the UK. What about the other stakeholders that have owners playing money all into this? So are we going to just plumaz one of them, and allow them away with 7 years of fraud, and tell the other 19 just what are you going to do about it?
I wonder what the statute of limitations in England is.
Well,
surely it has to be
there's no statute of limitations on what they're doing here. And the simple reason,
are you sure about that?
Yeah, there's no statute on it because that's how they got away with UEFA, the statute of limitations on the information.
No, yeah,
plus the fact that it came from Der Spiegel, and because it came from Der Spiegel, they questioned how it was sourced. Not that it was right or wrong, just you got that, and how did you get it, and you just kind of tricked us, that sort of way. You found us out, but just tricked us. And the Court of Arbitration of Sport then backtracked.
The Premier League trick rule. Yeah. The trick, you tricked me.
The trick. But look, away from Man City. I just think. Look, and this isn't me being over positive. Tell everyone, look, that if you have reservations, you have reservations on Arne Slot or whoever comes in. But I just think the break from when Klopp goes, the new hierarchy, anyone across the board is a risk. And for me, I'm looking forward to it. I'll really look forward to when Klopp is done, and he gets what he does, the send off he deserves, and all focus should be on him for the next 4 weeks or so. But I'm excited by that sort of appointment. It excites me more than the Mourinho or the Tuchel, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, no. Listen, and I think from the players' point of view, and I think there's been an awful lot of column inches written about around that Salah had with Klopp on the sideline, right? But if you actually see what's happened and the way the team has reacted since we lost that FA Cup game at Manchester United, you realise that at this point in time, because of the announcement that was made so early in the season, that the season's done. The lads are on the beach. I can understand why Salah was going Raj. Like he obviously, look, he's not in the best of form, right? But unfortunately, when somebody says, I'm finished and I'm gone and I won't be here next year, when you're a lame duck president, as they say in the States, right? When you get to this point of the season.
That's 100%. Like in every walk of life. Look, it's not even if you're leaving a job, Phil. If you know you're going on holiday on Friday, right? That Monday to Friday, you're just going, listen, fuck this. I'm out of here for a fortnight. I'll be on the beach comes Friday evening. The sort of way. It's just human nature.
But I can like the whole problem is the stuff that worked for Klopp up until now. The man management stuff and the passion and the drive. No, you have to do this. The league is gone. The cups are gone. And because he's not going to be there next year, it's sad to say, and this is horrible because it does play out, and you see this all the time. And this is going back to this is not just about football. This is just in every walk of life. When they know he's not going to be there anymore, the stuff that worked won't work because that has no impact on what they're going to do next season. And if Salah wants to be on the pitch because he sees himself as a leader of the team and blah blah blah, and then he sees what's going on and he just doesn't agree with it, whereas before he would have bit his lip because he was for the greater good, he knows he's not going to be there, right? And I hate saying this, you can just see that reaction wouldn't have happened. We've seen petulance before, but we've never seen that level of reaction. And that level of reaction wouldn't have happened if Klopp was going to be there next season. And the biggest problem I've had...
I don't know about that. I think when I look at the incident there the other day, and I think Salah's wrong, right? I'm not saying he's wrong in his argument. I just think the way he goes about it, and he's overly aggressive on the sideline in front of millions of people, I think it's wrong, regardless of what's going on there with regards to someone leaving and stuff like that. Rob Maguire says there, Mo supposedly wants to stay. Listen, Mo Salah's under contract for another year at Liverpool. I've seen about 10 people online today with exclusive stories about all the details you need to know about Mo Salah and what he wants to do and what the club wants to do and give me a fucking break. Every time something happens, somebody has an exclusive within fucking 3 hours, or 10 people have an exclusive, and all of a sudden they weren't given a second thought to Salah 2 days ago, but now they know everything about him what he's doing, what his intentions are, what the club intentions are, what Edwards thinks, what this fella thinks. Give me a fucking break. I'm absolutely sick of it. And we just keep fucking reading these pricks fucking articles and taking it as gospel. It does me head in. But
I don't.
I
Just
don't
saying.
I don't either. But look, I'm of the opinion that the biggest thing out of this yesterday was when he's walking through that mix zone yesterday and he's asked about that, the best thing he could have done was laugh and go, are you serious, are you? That happens every day, and walks on. And you cannot spin that. You cannot spin it. But when you say, if I talk now, there'll be fire, or you refuse to talk, or this, they can spin it whatever way they like. Do you know what I mean? And it's going to be spun now for a whole week until Klopp does an interview or a press conference on Friday. That's how it is.
But do you not think that, like, I go back to it. Listen, the club will want to keep next year for Slot's first year, right? They're going to want to keep Salah. They're going to want to keep Virgil. They're going to want to keep all the major fellas, right, in place. They want to keep all the senior pros that's there, right? But maybe, I think there'll be a couple of outs. I think there will be a couple of outs that might shock people. I think there might be one or two exits that nobody's expecting, right? I think Allison might be one. I know people won't want to hear that, but I think that might happen. I think Diaz will go as well, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing for the club in terms of what they can replace him with. So they're the bigger players.
Why do you think Diaz will go?
I just don't think he's very good.
Yeah, but then that's not the reason for thinking he'll go. You just don't like it. So
no, I don't think he offers
having a reason why he go. Like.
I'll tell you why. One, he's not an Edwards player. He won't be a Richard Hughes player. He's not
Arne
clinical
Slot player,
enough.
though.
Not the way Slot plays. Because I've seen how Louis van Gaal plays his teams, and like Diaz wouldn't fit in Louis van Gaal.
No, listen, I think the whole like way of the way they've crunched, and we're back to him. I know we're back to him, but the whole way they've kind of crunched the numbers, as they would say, and looked and went Arne Slot as the man, feels to me like, I'm not saying he's young Klopp, but his style of play, the formation he plays, the style of play and getting the ball back to whatever it might be, it feels to me like, let's make this as smooth as we can with regards to stylistically. Do you get me? So when you look at the squad, then people might go, he'll go, sell him, but that completely defeats the purpose if you're bringing a fella in to make it as smooth as you can, and then you're just going, but we're selling 9 fellas, because that just negates.
No. I said 2.
I think no, but you'll see people online wanting fucking everyone's sold.
Oh, listen, every
the biggest
year
thing, the biggest thing on Diaz is fucking hasn't shut the fuck up about how much Diaz loves Barcelona and fucking Madrid and all the Spain lads. But if I'm looking for something from Liverpool next season, I am looking for it to be refreshed a little bit in 1 or 2 positions. I think he probably has to make a big signing at centre back. That's my opinion. I think he might have to make a fair enough sized signing at left back, both for competition and for forward planning. But the minute I mention left back, I think of a person that's a member here, and as soon as you mention left back, absolutely fucking gets in the comments afterwards. I'm not going to name the person. He knows who he is if you listen. His name starts with a G. And like, just I'm afraid to literally mention left back because I feel like I'm having a go at a player that he absolutely loves, and I'm not. I'm just looking at left back and I'm saying to myself, we ended up with good Joe Gomez playing there, and he done well, but still, we have. I think we've 2 fullbacks now at 29 and 30 years of age, I think. Right, so I'm saying for the forward planning side of things, make whatever decision you want at left back, but I think you might have to do something there. I think midfield, I think he's okay, and I think up front he might have to make a decision on. I think one of them leaves, but I don't think it's Diaz. I have a feeling it could be between Jota and Nunes who goes, and he brings one in to replace.
Listen, I don't disagree with you. My point is, I think 2 go, right? I think he's been brought in. I think I agree with you. Half the attraction that's there is that he seems to fit the squad we have that's been assembled to work with Klopp's style and Klopp's team, right? So I think again he's been brought in that for that reason, and I think you're right. I don't think I don't think a massive transition. I think they've just gone through massive transition. They want to start adding the flair to their Victoria sponge, right? And they want to start adding the pieces. I'd say they've looked at it and said, right. When we talked way back at the start of the season, you asked me how many points I think the team had, and I said, look, somewhere between 76 and maybe 82 points is what I thought that the team had, right? So, and I thought if Klopp can get that out of him, it'd be brilliant because that lands us back in the Champions League, and every one of us would be delighted, and we'd feel like we're in a title race at different points across the course of the season. What I didn't realise was how close we could have been to landing this, right? And I think we're going to end up with possibly 80 points. I think to fall off over the next, we've only got 3 games left. It's going to be hard to put 9 points on the board from where we are because we haven't been able to do that over the last 5 games, right? But I do think we'll get to the 80 points mark, which lands us exactly where that team running a full tilt was where in my head I thought we'd end up, because I still think there was a couple of issues and you had to get bed players in, and there was a whole new midfield, and there was all that type of stuff that was going to go on, and we weren't quite sure how clinical Núñez was. Forget Diaz for a second, but how clinical Núñez was, and we needed 20 goals out of him and to go alongside Mo's 20 goals, and we didn't get any of that. And so that's where we land, and it's fantastic. To me, I think it's a phenomenal. If you park what happens, right? If we had this really shit run in January when
I said the same last night. If you sprinkled this across the season, we'd be sitting here going, really good season.
It's an amazing season, and we're setting ourselves up to have a crack at this like Arsenal did last year, because we've basically had the same end to the season that Arsenal had last year, that let City catch up with them and overtake them. That's where it is, right? Yeah. But they went out. They didn't rip it apart and build it back up again. They went out and added the 3 to 4 players that was going to get them on top of what they had, and they got rid of a couple. And that's the way I see it. I see us getting rid of a couple.
They just done upgrades.
Yeah, to get a few more in. And I'll say, I think some of the players that have taken a while to bid in, I think Gravenberch is over the last couple of games has really started to show his worth. I know people hate on Gakpo. I think Gakpo could potentially have a bigger future. A bit like, we look at him a bit like, I think we could look at him in a different light next season, and I also think he's fairly clinical in terms of what's the way he finishes. So I think there's a role for him. I think Jota. I think your point on Jota and one of Núñez or Diaz probably goes, and I think one again, availability. I think that's going to be a big.
That's the only thing I hold against Jota.
Yeah,
like if you guaranteed me 30 league games out of Diogo Jota next season, and Diogo Jota, and not I don't even want to see him in an FA Cup, a League Cup, or anything fucking else. You keep him. 100%.
Yeah, listen, and that's where I am. So when I look at it and say my disappointment goes back to, I hope to God, I hope all my might they don't do a parade of the League Cup. I swear to God, right? I would rather them do something specifically for Klopp in Anfield to recognise his service as the manager, right? And just I'd love them to come out tomorrow and say, yeah, Slot's taken over on June the 1st, right? Now the whole club wants to focus on giving Jurgen Klopp the send off and the love he deserves over the next few weeks, and we've put all this to bed. The new setup's in place. We're doing our job. We just want you as fans to focus on the team and Klopp until the end of the season. And at the end of the season, we're going to have a massive send-off for Klopp in Anfield. And we're going to have Jamie Webster dangling out of trusses. And we're going to have whoever they want to get in, right? They can get the whatever holograms of the Beatles on top of the Annie Road end if they want, right? To just join in a concert and just have a monstrous celebration for everything that we've managed to experience over the last 7 years and the trophies that we've won. There's no need for a parade. I actually think it will be an embarrassment if they parade a League Cup. I swear to God, I genuinely think it will be an embarrassment.
I don't think
it'll be a step down from our own standard.
But you see, I don't think they'll parade the League Cup. I think they'll parade Jurgen Klopp.
Again, I think that's just.
I have no issue with it. I think. Look, I'll put it to you this way: this is the only way to look at it, in my opinion. If you ask the vast majority of Liverpool fans across this planet, right? If you could get one opportunity to see Jurgen Klopp wave at him, fucking put a banner in front of him, celebrate him, would you do it? The vast majority would say yes. A lot of them can't because of where they are on the planet and stuff like that. But I promise you, if the whatever date, the 21st of or the 20th of May, is it the 20th of May? I think is the Monday. if you tell the Liverpool fans Jurgen Klopp is going to go on top of a bus and go through the city centre to say goodbye to Liverpool fans, there'll be 1 million people in Liverpool. Simple as that. So doing an Anfield is a great idea, but it just isn't big enough. This is how big this fella is. This fella is bigger. This fella reaches bigger than the football club. I think because he understands the city. I think he stood with fans on different issues. You know, I think he's shown great respect and decorum when it comes to certain things that Liverpool fans might fight for and different things, and he's always stood up for Liverpool fans. And you know what? And look, I might be going a bit far here, but I think the vast majority of people in Liverpool, whatever colour they support, I think have a huge respect for Jurgen Klopp, because I don't think he's ever come in and, you know, he's never downplayed Everton. He's never called them a small club like Rafa Benitez did. He's always been in touch with the people of Liverpool, whether they're red or blue. If a thing came up and it was non-football, he was quite happy to talk about it. Do you know what I mean? And back those people. So I think they'll parade Jurgen Klopp, and the only way they can parade Jurgen Klopp is to put him on a bus and send him to Liverpool, because it's just not big enough. Anfield's not big enough. If you like, honestly, Phil, there's 60,000 people at that ground against Wolves, and Liverpool ain't going to win a fucking tap that day, right? But I promise you, if someone said, look, there's 120,000 tickets available, it would sell in seconds. It's not about the football anymore. It's about people wanting to go and show Jurgen Klopp what he means to them. And unless they drop him into Phoenix Park in Dublin and fucking let 500,000 people in to see him like the fucking Pope, Anfield's just not big enough.
But Gav, I'm sorry, I'm just on a different take when it comes to it. I think it's deeply. I think parades should be reserved, and I've always said this, for league titles and Champions League titles. I genuinely, that's where I am for. So European trophies and league titles. I think that's what a parade is for. I also have a massive issue with just driving a bus through the city and leaving it that. There should be, if every other European country they're able to go to a square, to a central point, and there's enough places in Liverpool to do it. And like this is where big boys need to stand up and make their voices heard when it comes to the club and stuff like that. And they should have been able to get up on top and address the crowd, because we did it in 2005 when they won the Champions League. There was a big party in Liverpool when that all happened. And I'm telling you now, that should have happened for everything we've done. But now is not the time. As I said, I think they need to organise something different. Not a parade, something different. If they want to go to Stanley Park and put 150,000 people in Stanley Park and have basically a massive Klopp festival, I'm all for that.
It won't be big enough, Phil.
Well, Gav, there's nothing big enough. There's nothing big enough, but this is the thing about events.
The only way to access enough people is to put them through the city, because you have the route and you have the people. I'm telling you,
spread is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It might be ridiculous. It might be ridiculous, but that's the truth of it. That's the absolute truth.
Absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Do you know what they should do?
On a bus.
They should just book out a room in one of the Witherspoons, and 50 lucky people to go in.
Dangle them out with a helicopter with the belt for the 100 metres. Right, and fly him over Liverpool, and then show him, and Blackpool, because the people of Blackpool will miss him as well, for when he used to go and tap up all the players in Blackpool with the Rock.
Oh yeah, right? He did that with Van Dijk. Yeah, I remember that. That was the
exactly.
Right, but can we go now?
We never got onto our main topic.
What?
Do you not remember what the main topic was?
No. What was the main topic?
It was either, what point did you realise you'd left your youth behind? We talked about this.
I didn't really think about that one.
I know. Mike said that for. What movie did we think Pete was in from the picture he put up online earlier?
Right, let's leave the youth thing till next week, because I'll have a think about it. Right. Pete's currently recording a film. Anyone that follows him on Instagram, is that where you seen it? Instagram?
It was on something. It was on one of the social medias.
Multiple social media platforms.
I refer to my previous question. At what point did I realise I'd left my youth behind? Go on.
Pete's recording a film. I've seen a couple of still shots of it. It just looks like he's having a row with a fella on a hill.
It looks like he's fighting Jackie Chan. I told you, right? This is in my head. This is what I was there. I was like, because he's been saying to me for donkeys. He was close to getting the lead as Phil in a biopic, right? And I don't remember Phil fighting Jackie Chan in an adventure movie.
So this isn't that one.
Well, it could be because if Michael Flatley was able to do a movie, right, called
Yeah.
Crackboard, where he was a hero action adventurer who used his powers
Right.
of river dance to defeat things.
Pete's well within his right for Phil Lynott to be fighting Jackie Chan on a hill.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
This is it.
Fuck's sake. Right. Okay. I hope he doesn't hear this. He probably will.
Well,
Doesn't
yeah.
matter. He just laugh at it. He doesn't give a bollocks. He doesn't.
I think it's a great idea.
He doesn't.
He's like, I'm up for that.
Yeah, but he doesn't care. But he said.
What film do we think it is?
I said. All I had in my head was the Karate Kid. Imagine the Karate Kid, right? Do you ever see you see the Karate Kid logo come up on the screen, and then you kind of see it like like a branding iron where it just into the middle of it, and it just when it comes out, the branding iron comes off, it just says Drimney, and it's just the Karate Kid Drimney. I think that's what it is. Give him a text and ask him what the film is, please.
I was just saying, are you fighting Jackie Chan in that movie pick? Right?
And are you playing? And is that the Phil Lynott one as well? Ask him, is that the Phil Lynott movie he's doing?
Is that the Phil Lynott
biopic
one?
You're recording, and why is Jackie Chan in it?
Just
Did you send it to him?
Just gotta get it set there. There you go.
There you go. Sent. Anyway, we'll find out. Tune in next week, and we'll tell you what film Pete was recording. We'll tell you when we lost touch with our youth. We may update you on the belt situation. I may have looked into mini/crazy golf and see what the story is with equipment. Arne Slot may be real. Phil may have more evidence of AI, and he's definitely going
simulation.
And he's definitely ringing the bus company in Liverpool to make a massive complaint over the fact that they're going to run one of their buses through the town.
I got the phone in. It was strike for the bus drivers.
You're getting so upset with this, right? And that could be a 3-day parade, and you wouldn't have a fucking breeze that happened until someone told you about a week later. And you're getting so upset over it. Like, honestly, they could do that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and someone could say to you the following Monday, what do you think of the parade? What parade? What fucking parade? What parade are you talking about? Fuck off. What do you think? You think I'd be looking at parades? And then I'd be like,
May.
No, not the parade that you went on about 40 minutes that time. No, I didn't even know that was on. Haven't turned on the telly in a week. Yeah, so there you go. Right.
Come here to me. Are we on next Monday?
I would have thought
it's bank holiday.
Yeah.
All right. I'm doing 125 kilometers that day. I'm setting the world record.
Oh, new world record next Monday. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm so tired. But I don't know. Let's talk about it next Monday morning.
All right, Grant. But not Monday morning. I'm on the bike at 6 o'clock.
No, I'm not going to ring you or anything. I'm just going to text you on Monday morning. You can answer me at any stage during the day.
Because it's a 5-hour spin on next Monday morning, right, on the bike. So I'm going to be tired.
Okay. I might be tired. I might be tired from something else as well next Monday. You know,
we have to have a nap when I get back. I can't wait. I love a nap.
Can't wait for me nap next Monday. Fuck off, annoy me. Right. Links are in the description for the charities. Laura Lynn Hospice for Phil, the Fan Support and Food Banks, and the Lighthouse for us. And like I said, if you have a $5, split it between us. If you have a $10, split it between us. And if you can't donate, please share the links. Tell people what they're about. They're 3 brilliant organisations. So we're trying to get to. We're going to raise 15 grand. It's basically $5,000 an organisation here. It's slowed up. I'm not going to lie to you. It's slowed up. But if you can donate, please share it. It's all about sharing it. So there you go. That it? We done?
I think that's it. I think we're man on fire at this stage.
What do you reckon on the levels and the ratios of crack/football/crack there in the 3 parts?
I'd say given the status of the season and how much it's fallen off the rails, I think that's the best way to enjoy a Monday night as opposed to trying to extract anything out of what's going on at this moment in time.
So I think the ratios were good. Good crack, good bit of football, a little bit of crack.
I do think, just to answer Avo's question, what do I have to train the hardest for? I think the races are harder than the cycling, to be totally honest with you, even though the cycling takes longer, right? So if you want to honestly,
is it the running?
Yeah, the running kills me. Like I was running at the weekend, and it's like just to keep my legs going, because if I just keep cycling all the time and try to start running after that, it's going to end me. And running up mountains is probably the hardest thing you can do.
All right,
straight up.
I could pretend to know what I'm talking about here, but Look at me. Did I look like I fucking run up hills? Fuck's sake.
Come with me someday. Come with me. I'll take you on a
The
trail run.
only way I would go with you is if I was sitting at the bottom of the hill with a bag of cans and a drone following you up the hill so I could experience it with you. That's
I'll
it.
wear a GoPro for you if you want.
Perfect. Just send me the link and I'll sit at the bottom of the hill going, he's doing fucking great there, fair play to him. As I'm just stubbing smokes out in a fucking grass patch beside me.
Do you know how sad it is? I got
Fucking
excited
smokes
yesterday.
into the Pleasanton Lake. But yeah,
I got excited yesterday because it wasn't raining. Right? I genuinely got excited.
I do that all the time now.
I had a few drinks on Saturday night, which is unusual for me, and I said, "No, I have to go for a run. I can't sit in. Like I've been running through rain and quagmires for months,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it was sunny, and I just went out. Now it wasn't
I'm
a
obsessed with the
particularly
weather.
quick one. I was so happy, so happy. I went out. I was so happy. The sun was shining, and I could hear animals moving, and there was flies, which were annoying normally, but I didn't mind because like they only appear when it's getting like that. And then
Yeah.
it was sunny, and it was great. I like it.
I'm obsessed with the weather.
You have to
So
be.
like, see
You're
when
Irish.
it was nice out on Saturday and Sunday, Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was massive, right? And it was like it's the first 2 days in about 8 months in Ireland where it hadn't rained on Friday and Saturday, and even Sunday was nice, but it still fucking threw a bit of rain on us, right? When it was nice on Friday, the first thing I done was went onto my weather app and went, yeah, but what's it like on Monday? Instead of going, Jays, that's lovely out. I think I'll go out and do whatever.
Yeah.
No, first thing I done was
no.
straight into the app and went, fucking tell me it's raining on Monday. Because I'm playing golf on Monday. I don't give a bollocks about Friday and Saturday.
See,
I'm doing
and today was
Monday.
a joke. I was on the Norwegian
Today was
weather
stupid.
forecast.
It was sideways weather.
Right, because they're normally
Sideways weather. Sideways rain.
And I had to get out and do a quick 20k on the bike, but just around the mountain, just a quick lap, just because it was a lunch break and stuff like that. And I picked the time window where it was guaranteed. It said 0 chance of rain, 0 millimeters, 0%. Right. As I head for home, the heavens opened and a thunderous, godlike downpour came down on top of me. I nearly had hypothermia by the time I got off the bike.
I was on the golf course.
I'm done.
I was on the golf
Packing
course.
it in.
It was about, I think it was about 1:30, between 1:30 and 2 that happened where I was.
Yeah.
And
It's
I'm
absolutely
obsessed. I'm fucking obsessed with the weather. And I'd be saying things like, out loud I say these things. I say stuff like, oh, fucking if you add that up, that's 3.5 mils of rain in like a 12-hour period. I say these things out loud.
The one thing I'll say to you, listen to me. The one thing I'll say to you is, at this stage, right, there's so much water falling in this country. The fact that we don't have a government that's building massive, massive reservoirs around the country, right, so that we can store the water and then sell it to the rest of the world as global warming starts to heat up.
But this is my favourite thing at the moment. I was telling you this, wasn't I? My favourite thing at the moment, right, is where I live, right, they have massive problems with water. And the reason they're having massive problems with water is, and I know we're going way over time, but listen to me, right? The reason they're having problems with water is because we live in an area that the projected figures to live in this area for 2027 has already been passed in 2024. So we have a water infrastructure that simply can't deal with the amount of demand on it, right? But my favourite thing at the moment is going into local Facebook groups that are asking questions about water, right? Facebook / housing estate WhatsApp groups, right? And my wife keeps saying to me, like, what are you doing? I go, I'm fucking enjoying myself. Will you leave me alone? I'm not to be worrying about the fucking weather.
The weather's
4 days
terrible.
time for ages. So leave me. So what I done was, I say things like, people go, oh, the water's off. What's going on with the water? And I say things like, well, there was too much rain. And there was too much rain and the reservoir fell over because there was too much rain fell into it. And it's going to take 2 to 3 days for the lads to lift back up the reservoir and then fill it again. So look, 3 days, there's not much you can do about it. And then people are on going, the reservoir fell over. And I'm like, well, look, you know what I mean? And then, and then the water's gone off again. And well, what's going on here? And I'd say, well, look, you know what I mean? The reservoir was just old, right? And it ran out. It's just gone by its date now. So they just forgot. But now they just have to replace the whole reservoir. It could be a week. They don't know. And people would be like, where did you hear this? And I'd say, just hang on there and I'll go and get the info. And then I just fuck off. Like, you know what I mean? There's no info. But I just go out and do things like that. So, yeah, like, maybe, is that where I've lost my youth? I don't know. I'm saying things out loud about weather. And you know what I'm doing?
No,
Like, because I play golf.
Save it till next week.
No, but
Save it till next week.
Do you know the way I play golf, right? The wind is a massive factor in golf, right? And like if I see like Monday between 10 and 2 when I usually play golf, right? And I see things like 36 with an arrow pointing to the right, which means easterly wind, right? I immediately panic and think, fuck, is that on kilometers an hour or miles per hour? I really hope it's kilometers because that's much slower than 36 miles. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking yeah. So there you
Listen,
go.
we'll have to come back to the youth thing next week, right? I think that's something we need to address because it's the only way to go.
Can we talk about water meters next week? Because Rob
Yeah.
McGuire says, Gav, you have a lovely water meter outside your house. I have got a water meter, but they're not used. They haven't. They're as useful as those fucking electronic tolling boots that we got years ago. Do you remember? Now they're all in storage somewhere, costing us like millions a year. It's absolutely fucking.
If
Anyway,
Avo's in England, I'll just let me finish with this. Avo, there's one thing that the Saudis won't be buying off the English is their water. It's the most contaminated water in Europe. There's one thing they won't be able to sell. It's like literally they can't even run triathlons in England anymore because the water's so polluted. All the triathletes get sick after the races. That's embarrassing.
actually says, hold on. You just make up disasters on these Facebook groups. It's not a disaster. There's
No, it's
no
just
the reservoir isn't a thing where it stands up vertically full of water. That's not how it works. But I tell people that that's what happened because they're obsessed with fucking water. So I tell them the reservoir just fell over, all the water poured out of it. They're trying to fill it back up, but they have to get a crane to lift it back up and stand it back up, and then sometimes the reservoir was just too old, so they have to replace. So just make stuff up. You know what I mean? Because do you know what the gas thing is, right? They get that upset about the water that no matter what you say to them, they reckon it's plausible, and you just have a lovely time. You know what I mean? You have a lovely time.
now
So
come here to me.
and also, if you comment on these things on the likes of Facebook, because you've commented, you get all the notifications of all the questions all the Owens are asking. So it means then that you don't miss all the entertainment. So there's a double-edged sword to it, and it's fantastic. But
Now come here to me. I've got to get back to looking at pictures and videos of Caleb Williams and Roma Dunze.
who were they?
I was so excited. I spent all the weekend watching the draft on the
Oh,
NFL,
right.
and
I don't know who they are.
the
Yeah.
Bears draft a new quarterback and a wide receiver, and it's electric. It's electric.
Do you think they're
I
going
need
to
to
do
go
well?
back. No, like listen, being a Bears
And,
fan has
and,
been an Everton fan.
Are the
It's great
Giants? Are
every
the
year.
Giants any good?
Yeah, they did great. They signed Malik Neighbours.
Doesn't even sound like a real name.
Well, neither does Arne Slot or Moa
There you go.
Salama that
It's
were going
just
to
more
sign
evidence of AI.
of the simulation and
Yeah,
AI, right?
yeah, that's it. That's where we are. Right, that has been Monday night. Thanks a million to everyone for watching, all the members. If you're listening back to the download tomorrow, I don't know. You're welcome for that last hour and 12 minutes. Or
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
sorry, we don't know. We had a lovely time, and most people watching live did as well. Anyway, that has been it. Thanks to Phil. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Talk to you in a bit. Over and out. The button.